Hello. Wanted to give a quick update on my last couple of days. I haven't made a recording, I think maybe it was day 4. Today is day 7. So a week ago today, Friday, I had my surgery. So a couple of hours from now would have been the 7-day mark. But so I'm actually on day 7 today. But I wanted to give an update because yesterday was kind of a big day. It was my first physical therapy session, and have to say, I'm pleased and surprised. The physical therapist was also somewhat surprised in my range of motion. So the biggest part of going to PT yesterday is, at least for the way my surgeons medical offices work, the PT is tied to them, and the PT actually removed my dressing, so that was it was getting quite irritating. It was bulky there. I couldn't tell if when I was any slight movement, not with my shoulder specifically, but turning my head, that the adhesive that they use for the dressing kind of tugs on the skin, and so I couldn't really discern between, am I feeling some kind of stretching on the skin itself from the adhesion of the dressing, or was it something internal to the shoulder? And so glad to have that off. Didn't realize it was going to feel that good. So went through a handful of exercises, did a lot of the basics that you'll find in other videos. But I have the little ball here. I've been using that here at home. But he actually started me on the pendulums. So I'm starting the motion of just the kind of the loose hanging shoulder. And I'll admit, I have had a real challenge of guarding. And I confirmed with him, the PT yesterday, that I guess that's the term, that I'm flexing and not allowing free movement and fluidity through my joint. And I told him I think I'm doing that just as a matter of habit, but I'm also doing it now as a protection mechanism. So I did have the question for him. You didn't do the operation. How do you know how far I can go that I don't have to worry about any kind of damage to the anchors that were installed as part of my shoulder surgery? And he gave me some good PT speak for how he knows. And that, I think maybe anyone that's gone through this, you don't want to do it again. And so you want to kind of maybe take baby steps, at least initially, until you have a better understanding of your body, your surgery, your recovery. And I'm fully aware everybody is different. One of the things he told me is that my range of motion is comparable to a majority of the patients he's had for about 2 to 4 weeks. I don't know why that is. I was in pretty good shape before I had surgery. I worked out about 3 times a week, as I said on a previous video. So between some medium lifting and then riding my bike, I tried to stay in some semblance of decent shape. I'm not a very flexible person, haven't been throughout my life. But for some reason, my range of motion is, I don't remember the exact exercises, but it was 0 degrees and 90 degrees. And the comparison point was, he says the majority of his patients are around 40 to 60 on the 90 degree. And again, another 15 to 20 degree delta between my 0 degree exercise and where average of his patients have been. So I was pleased to hear that. Trying to, again, as I mentioned earlier in other videos, stacking little victories. This one seemed to be a bigger victory, but I'm trying to find the positives throughout every day, trying to stay of a mindset that allows me to be willing to accept this. I can't do anything about it, so I'm going to try to make the best of it. But as far as when the dressing came off, it's the first time my wife and I have seen the work that was done underneath, at least on the surface. So I have 6 entry points, so 6 incisions, One is, I believe on the back is for the camera. And then the other ones were for the supraspinatus tear that I had repaired. And that was actually re-anchored back onto the footprint of the humeral head. So the natural location. So there was no retraction. I guess because it wasn't a full tear. It was a full thickness tear, but not a full width tear. So not a complete tear, which allowed him to kind of, debride some of the excess fraying on the tendon, and then re-anchored that. And then the only, I guess I've seen the videos where there's generally 4 to 5 incisions. I have one that's just above my armpit here, and that is where they did the open biceps tenodesis surgery. And today's Friday. It wasn't until Wednesday that I looked online through my account and saw the post-op summary report from the orthopedic surgeon. And so I read through that. I had to read it a couple times because it is very, very dense in its language. And while I've educated myself over the last month or so with a lot of the terminology, there was some new things that I wasn't aware of. What I found interesting is for my open bicep tenodesis procedure, he intertwined the biceps, the long head biceps tendon with my, I don't know which part it is, but it is of my pectoralis tendon. And he used the term mattress stitching, right? So I guess that's kind of interweaving those two in, I guess, a herringbone or a kind of a rope twine fashion, and then anchored that back up to the point where he said it would be much better for healing, and it should be also stronger. I think I mentioned this in an earlier video that he made note of where the biceps tendon actually naturally sits and is anchored. It's not a very good design. And so when this does happen and they have an opportunity to relocate it, the location point is a little bit closer down to my bicep itself, but it anchors better, heals better, and I should have full strength at the time that the healing is at 100%. So as far as me getting back to doing curls, for example, that should not be an issue. At least that's kind of his prognosis at this point. So getting the dressing off, getting kind of a look, took a couple of photos. I can't really show it here. Got a longer sleeve on. It's a short sleeve shirt, but it's a little longer because it's a little oversized. And there's other videos out there, so it doesn't look anything different than what you might have seen on other videos. They're healing fine. I took my first shower, right? The couple of bathings that I've had were just kind of sponge baths with my wife's help. And then today, I took my first shower on my own, and I had purchased one of those long handle scrub brushes, right? So I can reach my back and under my good arm with my good hand, which is a little cumbersome, but you kind of get used to that. So I guess I would say for those that maybe are watching this and you have time to prepare before your actual surgery, I was fortunate if you look at it that way, that they couldn't get me on the docket for surgery for 5 weeks. So I took advantage of that time, and I watched a lot of videos. I did a lot of reading, much more knowledgeable about the anatomy of the shoulder now than I ever was. But I also used that time to do as much as I could one-handed, right? So simple things like putting my socks on. I made sure that I pre-tied my shoes, and then I used shoe horns, right? These are all ideas that they seem kind of common sense, but maybe in kind of the stress and all of the chaos that goes on with you preparing for your procedure, whether you have a day or whether you have a number of weeks like I did, you can have some things slip through the cracks. So all in all, again, today being day 7, it's about midday. I just had lunch. I've still had very, very little pain. I feel extremely fortunate. So much so that we took the oxycodone that they had given me, which I never took a tablet, and we just put that back into the one of the bathrooms, the bathroom shelf, where we keep some other medicines. I also did not take the, what was it? It was the anti-nausea medicine. Never had any problem with that. So I was hoping to avoid opioids. I just didn't know if that was really realistic. But here I am a week out, and I am just on my regular routine, 6 to 8 hours, alternating between acetaminophen and ibuprofen. And that has been fine. Now, my pain, as I said in a previous video or two, I put it at 0 out of 10. I had no pain. The nerve block lasted close to 5 days. And then when that finally wore off, when I could kind of feel, and understand that, I have sensation there to touch. I guess the thing that I had paid attention to was the pain kind of moved up to a 1. Maybe it's 2. I'm not very good at quantifying pain. Right? If it's a 10, for example, yeah, I know you're screaming your head off and you're thinking, this is it, that's the end, and you can't stand it. But it was just above, no pain. It was more discomfort, which I guess is a level of pain, but nothing that precluded me from doing anything else or sitting properly. So we put that medicine on the shelf, and hopefully I'm through having to even think about using that. And I'm very, very pleased about that. So again, stacking those little victories, along with occasional bigger victories, is a great thing. So I did make an update again for the last couple of days. There hadn't been a lot of changes, and I wanted to wait till after my PT. Went through the same basic exercises. I have a routine now. So after I make this video, I will move over to do my pendulums, and then a kind of bicep exercises to make sure that the elbow and I guess the triceps and even my bicep is getting some motion, so that I can start increasing the range of motion as I move through. I go to see go in for my first post-op appointment next week. That's with the PA. I asked for the doctor to attend because I do have some questions about the report. Nothing major. It's more just curiosity and trying to get an understanding of everything he did. There was 3 different types of anchors that they used, but I don't know, was it in pairs, or did they have to use, sometimes I've seen on other procedures, they might have used 4, for example, for the stitching of a single tear area. So it's more just curiosity, and hopefully I'm only going to go through this, at least with this shoulder. This was good, but this was good, 9 months ago, 8 months ago. I don't want to have to go through this again, is what I'm saying. And I want to make sure that I have good knowledge of, everything that's related to this, so that I make good decisions when I decide to twist one way or bend down, or maybe push an exercise a little further than I normally would. So I'm taking baby steps, right? I'm learning to kind of crawl through this first week, and then I'm taking very, very small steps before I can move into the walk phase. So anyway, good couple of days. Looking forward to seeing what happens over the next week. So I've got my first post-op next week, and then actually that'll be Christmas Eve. And then the day after Christmas, I have my second PT session. So looking forward to doing that, doing my exercises. Don't know if I have anything else. I haven't used any kind of extra tools. I know some people buy, for example, a very lightweight dowel rod or plastic rod, or I saw one video that had a child's plastic golf set, and they use that because it's very light to do my exercises. I haven't graduated to those yet, so I will probably have to buy that at some time. I'm getting good sleep. Last night I had about 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep. Kind of woke up at 5:45 a.m. That was this morning, and then just dozed back off, and then was up at 8:30. So I've kind of increased just naturally. I'm not taking any supplements for that, but I've been getting anywhere from 4 to now 6-7 hours of sleep. And I'm not really dozing off during the day, so I guess I'm not as sleep deprived as I thought I would be. So again, another small victory. see what happens here in the next couple of days. If anything changes, I'll make another video. But until then, stay positive, strive for those little victories. They matter, they add up. And I know everybody has a different journey. Not everybody has somebody to be there to assist them. And I understand that. I can only tell, from my perspective, but I'm cognizant of that, and I want to make sure that anyone that's watching this understands that, I'm not presuming anything about anybody else. I'm just trying to relay some of the things that have happened in my journey so far, and maybe some things that I've benefited from. But as always, if there's anyone that has comments or ideas that you'd like to share, more than happy to hear about them, because I know I can't think of everything. My wife is a very, very smart woman. Other than the fact she married me, I always tell people that I'm between the two of us, I'm the smarter one because I married her. Anyway, she's on top of a lot of things. So between us, we kind of cover, I think, just about everything. But even then, you can miss some things. So stay positive. I hope things are going well for you and your journey. And until next time.